Let's talk about real estate space, which is actually hit hard in today's trading session, especially most of these companies which have a huge exposure in the Maharashtra state. We have Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani, who's the founder and chairman of Hiranandani Group, joining us on the show to talk about the entire hike in the ready reckoner rate in the state of Maharashtra. And thank you so much, sir. Afternoon to you. Thanks so much for joining us in ET9. Firstly, after 2 years, you have the ready reckoner rates that have been hiked in the state of Maharashtra. If you could help us understand, how should one actually read through this, especially for Mumbai, where the hike has been much lower when you compare it to the state average?
I think it's wonderful that an exercise in detail has been conducted before the increase. And I think the variations itself indicates that an application of mind has been done. So I think that's the plus point as far as that is concerned. The city of Mumbai, we've always been saying, is extremely high pricing already. And that is why probably the increase in the city, Mumbai city, has been put to 3.2%. And overall, and an averaging, of course, has come to less than 4%. This indicates that we were right, that the figures are actually quite high. And these are one of the causes of inflation of pricing in real estate, which has happened over the period of years. So that's the challenge that we have faced. But we are very happy that at least some application of mind in detail was done before actually exercising this journey, where earlier flat increases of 5-10% were done. This time, I think an application of mind is far more detailed.
Right. Mr. Hiranandani, does this also mean that rates, or rather the hikes that have come in, would be acceptable, as most transactions were taking place at a higher market rate as it is?
No. You have to try and understand this. How do you cause inflation? You cause inflation because you increase the rates of the land which is available. You increase the rates of the stamp duty which is there. You increase the rates of the additional FSI cost that you buy from government or the municipal corporation. You're also increasing all these rates. If you're increasing the rates will ultimately go up. So that is it. Now you're talking about an aberration of certain higher priced properties which are there, which is different. But what about the majority of the people who want to buy a house? You and others who want to buy a house, those people are going to be faced with inflationary tendency, which will take place in the market, and the prices of their houses will also go up over a period of time. So that is the challenge that we have been facing. The government has recognized this. That is the reason why that question mark as to why it was not 8% and higher, but it was actually less. According to me, they could have just done 1 or 2%.
Right, Mr. Hiranandani. So now I want to understand, if you could help us understand and gauge what will be the overall impact of this on demand, and especially in the state of Maharashtra, which all cities are likely to see the maximum impact?
I think the government's revenues will go up, because they're wanting that increase to take place. So they want to do more collection in terms of various taxes, charges, development charges, additional FSI charges, and others which are being taken from the government. They want to have more collection. So that's the real objective of this entire exercise that is done. And that is what they say also. They're quite open about it, that we want to collect more taxes from the people. Now, the question is, do you want to create more affordable housing, or do we want to collect more taxes? I think a balance required to be done between the two. And I think over a period of time, if you remember, during COVID time, they had reduced the stamp duty and other charges by 50%. The collections, in fact, went up because more sales took place and the prices were slightly more affordable. 100% charges are being levied. So obviously the prices will continue to go up over a period of time.
Right.
From a cost perspective.
Sure. But Mr. Hiranandani, the point is that, Mumbai already has high prices. You think the market will be able to absorb this ready reckoner hike in premium as well as affordable segments?
My worry is affordable housing. You have prevented affordable housing from being constructed in the city and suburbs of Mumbai. And this is simply because the ready reckoner rate and the other charges of FSI and others are too high. And you cannot even sell the properties less than the ready reckoner rate. So because the income tax authorities will not permit you to do it, and they will charge you a penal tax both to the buyer and seller for the purposes of doing that. So I think in reality, the inflation in prices, especially for affordable housing, is counterproductive in the case of affordable housing, especially in places like city of Mumbai and others. This is a big challenge for the affordable housing segment. And I think I'm more concerned about it. I'm not so concerned about the rich and the famous.
All right, Mr. Hiranandani, we leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now to talk about this hike that the Maharashtra government has undertaken, especially when you talk of the ready reckoner rates. Remember, the Mumbai rates, the hike is much lower than the average hike in the rest of the state.